as of 4 p.m., July 7, 2024. Today's high temperature was 93 degrees. The normal high is 91. The record high is 95 degrees, which was last set in 1935. Today's low temperature was 81 degrees. The normal low is 79. The record low is 72 degrees, which was last set in 1934. 0.08 inches of precipitation fell today, which brings the monthly total to 0.08 inches. This is 0.89 inches below the normal amount of 0.97 inches for July. The total precipitation for the year now stands at 24.58 inches, which is 4.82 inches above normal. There were no heating degree days today, and there were 22 cooling degree days today. Today the maximum wind observed was 26 miles an hour from the east. The highest wind gust observed was 36 miles per hour from the east, which occurred at 1:33 p.m. The normal high temperature for tomorrow is 91 degrees, and the normal low is 79. The record high for tomorrow is 100, which occurred in 1939, and the record low is 69, which occurred in 1916. Sunset tonight is at 8:22 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:27 a.m. Flood watch remains in effect from 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time Monday through Tuesday morning. What? Flooding caused by excessive rainfall continues to be possible. Where? Portions of south central and southeast Texas, including the following areas: in south central Texas, coastal Jackson and inland Jackson. In southeast Texas, Austin, Bolivar Peninsula, Brazoria Islands, Brazos, Burleson, Chambers, coastal Brazoria, coastal Galveston, coastal Harris, coastal Matagorda, Colorado, Fort Bend, Galveston Island, Grimes, Houston, inland Brazoria, inland Galveston, inland Harris, inland Matagorda, Madison, Matagorda Islands, Montgomery, northern Liberty, Polk, San Jacinto, southern Liberty, Trinity, Walker, Waller, Washington, and Wharton. When? From 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time Monday through Tuesday morning. Impacts: excessive runoff may result in flooding of rivers, creeks, streams, and other low-lying and flood-prone locations. Creeks and streams may rise out of their banks. Flooding may occur in poor drainage and urban areas. Additional details: heavy rain associated with Tropical Storm Beryl is expected to pose a flash flooding threat for southeast Texas. 4 to 10 inches of total rainfall, with some locally higher amounts possible, are expected. This may result in street flooding, as well as rises along area rivers, creeks, streams, and bayous. You should monitor later forecasts and be alert for possible flood warnings. Those living in areas prone to flooding should be prepared to take action should flooding develop. Repeating, a flood watch remains in effect from 1 a.m. Central Daylight Time Monday until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time Tuesday for the following counties: in Texas, Bolivar Peninsula, Brazoria, Chambers, Fort Bend, Galveston Island, Galveston and inland Galveston. Here is the tropical weather outlook for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. Active systems: the National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Tropical Storm Beryl, located over the western Gulf of Mexico. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 7 days. Changes to watches and warnings: non-current watches and warnings, a storm surge warning, hurricane warning, and tropical storm warning are in effect for Brazoria Islands. A storm surge warning and hurricane warning are in effect for coastal Brazoria, coastal Jackson, coastal Matagorda, and Matagorda Islands. A storm surge warning, tropical storm warning, and hurricane watch are in effect for Galveston Island. A hurricane warning is in effect for inland Brazoria, inland Jackson, inland Matagorda, and Wharton. A storm surge warning and tropical storm warning are in effect for Bolivar Peninsula, Chambers, coastal Galveston, and coastal Harris. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Austin, Brazos, Burleson, Colorado, Fort Bend, Grimes, Houston, inland Galveston, inland Harris, Madison, Montgomery, northern Liberty, Polk, San Jacinto, southern Liberty, Trinity, Walker, Waller, and Washington. Storm information: about 180 miles south-southwest of Galveston, Texas, or about 130 miles south-southeast of Matagorda, Texas, 26.8 and 95.5 W. Storm intensity 65 miles per hour. Movement north-northwest or 335 degrees at 12 miles per hour. New information: Tropical Storm Beryl continues to move over the western Gulf of Mexico and keeps a northwestward track towards the middle Texas coast this afternoon. Beryl is forecast to strengthen to Category 1 hurricane tonight and make landfall near the east side of Matagorda Bay late tonight or overnight. Once Beryl make landfall, a weakening on its intensity is expected as it moves north-northeast across southeast Texas. Multiple hazards are expected across the area, including hurricane force winds in and around the Matagorda Bay area, as well as tropical storm force winds for the rest of southeast Texas as far north as Houston County. Additionally, 4-7 feet of storm surge inundation is expected along the immediate coast. Heavy rainfall is also expected. Rainfall totals of 5-10 inches are possible with locally higher amounts of up to 15 inches. Continue to monitor the progress of Beryl as changes in the track and intensity could still result in changes to the expected impact situation overview. The next local statement will be issued by the National Weather Service in Houston, Galveston, Texas around 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or sooner if conditions warrant. A hurricane warning remains in effect for the following counties in Texas: Brazoria, Jackson, Matagorda, and Wharton. Hurricane warning remains in effect. What? South wind 35 to 55 knots with gusts up to 80 knots and seas 15 to 20 feet. Where? Matagorda Bay, coastal waters from Freeport to Matagorda Ship Channel, Texas out 20 nautical miles, and waters from Freeport to Matagorda Ship Channel, Texas from 20 to 60 nautical miles. When? Hurricane force winds possible from Sunday evening until Monday afternoon. Impacts: extremely strong winds will cause hazardous seas which will likely capsize or damage vessels and severely reduce visibility. Mariners should remain in port, alter course, and/or secure the vessel for extreme conditions. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following counties in Texas: Austin, Brazos, Burleson, Colorado, Fort Bend, Galveston, Grimes, Harris, Houston, Liberty, Madison, Montgomery, Polk, San Jacinto, Trinity, Walker, Waller, and Washington. Tropical storm warning remains in effect. What? South winds around 35 knots with gusts up to 45 knots and seas 8 to 13 feet. Where? Galveston Bay, coastal waters from High Island to Freeport, Texas out 20 nautical miles, and waters from High Island to Freeport, Texas from 20 to 60 nautical miles. When? Tropical storm force winds possible from Sunday evening until Monday afternoon. Impacts: very strong winds will cause hazardous seas which could capsize or damage vessels and reduce visibility. Mariners should alter plans to avoid these hazardous conditions. Remain in port, seek safe harbor, alter course, and/or secure the vessel for severe conditions. A storm surge warning remains in effect, and a hurricane watch and tropical storm warning are both in effect for the following county: Galveston Island, Texas. A storm surge warning remains in effect, and a tropical storm warning remains in effect for the following counties in Texas: Bolivar Peninsula, Chambers, and inland Galveston. 5 p.m. observations at Galveston: partly sunny.